Hello friends and welcome to my channel Iballdesigningdeveloper. So like you all know that previously we have started a new tutorial series of C++ in which we have covered up really different things, and I hope you're enjoying that all videos. Like in previous video I have told you that what are arrays in C++. So now in this video we will be learning that what are arrays and loops in C++, how you can cover up them, and basically what are the elements we have to use when we are starting with arrays and loops together in C++. So I hope you'll be enjoying this video from start. So if you enjoy this video and if you understand this amazing tutorial here, so remember to hit a like to this video, and if you're new on this channel, want to see more videos like that, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing hit notification bell so you can get the notifications of all my coming up videos which I'll be uploading on this channel. So now what we are waiting for, let's move to computer screen and let's get started. So now here we are on the computer screen, and like I've told you in the start that today in this video I will be telling you that what are arrays and loop in C++, because already in previous video I have told you about arrays. But if we talk about like if we are using arrays and loops together, so how we can do that? If we talk about that what is loop through an array, so basically you can loop through the array elements with the for loop. Means if you want to loop through the array elements, so you can use for loop there, and the following example outputs all elements in the cars array. Like if I want to output all the elements which are in cars array, so here I can do that. This is the example. Like first of all I want to create an array of strings, and in array of string I'll be creating one string. You can create any of a string you want. Like I've created a string of cars, and in this car string I have created some cars name here like this. And after that what I'm going to do is I want to loop these strings here, and for looping the string obviously I will be using for loop here, because here I've written that I can loop the array elements with for loop. So here I'll be using for loop, and after using for loop I will be using the things which normally are used in for loop. Then we have to use the same value. Like we are writing here, we are using 5 values in our string, so obviously I'll be using 5 in my for loop as well. And after doing it I will be using this count function, and I'll be printing this car string. And remember the name should be same, like you're using the name of your string. I'm using the name of my string as cars, so here I'm using the same name as well. And then when I'm doing, I'm writing this backslash n so I can get my output running in second line. So that's why I'm using, but it's your choice to use this thing or not. It is not compulsory to use, but I'm using so that I can get my output looking good. And after doing that all things, the example output will be having the index of each element together with its value. So if you want to do this thing, if you want to get the output with index of each element together with its value, so for that you can use this example here, which is the same example that you have to use normally strings which we are using at the top. But you don't have to use the loop through strings. You can normally use the loop here, and then you can normally define the strings like we do when we are defining normally strings here. So that's the thing. And this example shows how to loop through an array of integers. If I want to loop through an array of integers, so for that I can do like this. I can use first of all the integer of my number 5, then I can add 5 numbers, or you can also use some other value. If I want to add 10 numbers, so you can use 10 here, and then you can add 10 values. But right now I'm using 5 values, so obviously I'll be writing 5, and then after that I'll be writing all the 5 values. And here we have to use for loop, and after using this for loop I will be adding this my number I. So in this you will be getting all these numbers printed. So this is the thing. And if we talk about for each loop here, so for each loop will for each loop is introduced in C++ version 11, which was in 2011, which is used exclusively to loop through elements in an array and other data structures like vector and list. So if you want to use these vectors and lists, for that we will be using for each loop there, and this is the syntax how to use this for each loop, because already I have told you about for each loop in previous videos as well. So that's why we'll be not understanding more about it. But remember, when you're using loop through integers and loop through string and for each loop, so like that you can use, this is the example here. So now what I'm going to do is, first of all we will be using this array and loops, means we'll be using loop through strings first of all in for loops, because obviously we are starting with it. So for that we need to use these loop and strings here with for loop. So what I'm going to do is I'll be copying this example here, then I'll be moving on to my Google Chrome, and then after that I'll be opening Replit text editor, because you all know that Replit my like you can say normal IDE which I'm using here. So that's why I'll be using this same thing here, and I'll be pressing it. And after doing this thing I will be changing the name of my REPL, and I will be writing here arrays like this, and then I'll be writing arrays and loops in C++, then I'll be pressing enter. After doing it, you can just see we are getting all the things here, like we are getting our REPL running. And then after doing this, I'll be just removing all the things from my REPL which I have already added, because I'll be not needing that things. I'll be adding my own starting code, and after that we will be pasting the tags which we have copied. So what I'm going to do is I'll be writing include IOStream like this. You can give a space here if you want, but I prefer you do not give a space, because in a starting codes of C++ we don't give any space. Then you have to use this using namespace std. Then simply you have to move down and write here init main like this, make this parenthesis and curly brackets, then paste all the things which you have copied. But remember, after doing it, you have to return a value as 0 as well. So I'll be returning a value as 0. Then you can just save the file, it's your choice or not, and then after that you can just run it by pressing Control Enter Run button. After doing it, you can just see we are getting all these 5 menus or strings running here successfully, because now we are looping these all strings through loop. So you can just see when we are using this strings with loop, so we are getting a different output running here. But normally if we print normally the string, so you will be getting a different output which will be in curly bracket. But right now we are getting all these things running differently because we are looping this strings with loop now. If I just write this value to 4, so now you will be getting 4 values only. This Tesla will be not coming. You can just see now we are only getting these 4 values running. We are not getting Tesla because right now I'm not using fifth value here, so that's why we are only getting these 4 values running. If I write 2, so you will be getting only 2 values in start, which will be Volvo and BMW, and all these 3 values will be not coming, Ford, Mazda and Tesla. So this will be not coming, only Volvo and BMW will be coming. I will be running it here. After running, you can just see only 2 values is coming, because we are now using these strings with loop and we are looping through strings. So that's why we can change the values here, and we are getting this 2 strings printed here because I've changed the value to 2 in my for loop. So that's the thing, and that's the way you can use for loops with strings here. So I hope you understand how we are using these for loops with strings here. Now what I'm going to do is I'll be copying my second example here. From that we can get the output of index, or you can say it will be getting the output of the index of each element together with its value. So I will be just pasting all these things and I'll be removing, or you can comment out this thing, and underneath this thing you can print all these things here. After doing it, I'll be saving it again and I'll be running. So you can just see now the output will be coming differently. We are getting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like we are getting integer values as well before these all values, because these integer value indicating that on which value you are getting these all things printed. Like I am getting Volvo at 0, then BMW at 1, Ford at 2, Mazda at 3 and Tesla at 4. Like this you can change the values as well. If I change it to, like, you can say 6, so now what it will be going to do is it will be giving the values nothing, because 6 is not here. So that's why only the values are printed from 4. So if I just change the value to 2, so now you will be only getting 0, 1, 2, means 3 values printed. So you can just see we are getting 0 and 1 value, we are not getting the 2 value, because integers only give the value before the number which you are writing. Like if I'm writing 2, so all the values will be coming before 2, like 0 and 1. If I change the number to 5, so now before 5 all the values will be coming, which will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I run it here, you can just see all these 4 values are coming, but obviously we have used 5 values and directly we are using 5 so that it can print all the values which we are using. If I write here 4, so now it will be only printing the before 4 values, which is 0, 1, 2, 3. So you can just see only these 3 values are coming, and this Tesla is not coming because we have written 4 here. And when you are writing 4 in the integer with for loop, so it will be only giving the values which are printed before 4. So that's why we are not getting 4 printed here. So remember, if you want to print all these things here, means all the strings which you are using, so you have to change the value to 5 or greater than the value which you are using in your string. Like I'm using greater 5 value, so I will be getting all these 4 values printed like this. So you can just see how we are using these strings with integer. So I hope you understand how we are getting the output when we are using the same strings with integer values here. So now we will be using these things with for each loop, that if we are using these loop here through an array of integers, so what output we are getting, first of all we'll be using it here. So I'll be copying this thing and then I will be moving on to my Google Chrome and I'll be removing all these things here which I have already getting. Then I will be moving down and pasting this. After pasting, and if I run these all things, so you can just see we are getting 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. These all values printed because we are using 5. If you want to change the value, you can change it to 3 or 4. So you will be only getting the values printed till 3. You can just see 10, 20, 30 because right now I've changed the integer value to 3. So like this, you can use these all things and you can loop through string like this. So I hope you understand how we are using arrays and loop together to get different outputs. And same goes to for each loop. If you want to use these examples for each loop, so you can do that. You will be getting same output like we are getting in for loop. So I hope you understand this video in which we have learned that how we can use arrays and loop together in C++. So if you understand this video and if you enjoy this amazing tutorial here, so remember to hit a like to this video, and if you're new on this channel, want to see more videos like that, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing hit notification bell so you can get the notifications of all my coming up videos which I'll be uploading on this channel. So now I'll be meeting you next tutorial here. So for today, goodbye.